Greetings and a great evening, grand rising, or whenever you may view this content. How are you today? I'm well myself, and I'm hoping to do this on a consistent basis and a much earlier timeline than my late night nocturnal self. I hope all is well with everyone. I just wanted to get back to you guys, and pardon me for keep looking at this. It smells so good. It smells so good. Burning the clothes leaved. I wanted to get back to you all and just run down the overview of everything that I did not cover when I did this about 8-9 months ago. So what's going on now is this is the 6th day of my new life. Hi, I am a number 6, so I didn't choose this day. It just happened to come in alignment with what all I'm doing and what's been going on with me. But I listened to my videos, and I want to thank you guys. You lovely, beautiful souls. You lovely, beautiful souls enclosed in flesh, whomever you may be, that subscribe to me. And I don't know if you sat through that misery or not, but I want to commend you if you did, because it was hard for me to sit through, and it was me talking, listening to me. OMG. Can you say depression out loud? It's real. Yeah. So, back then, I was going through a whole heap of stuff. And, we all go through stuff. We all experience different ups and downs, highs and lows, ins and outs, and all abouts with our functions on a daily, just in day-to-day functions. So just imagine the months and years of that same tempo of misery. So that's pretty much where I was back in November. Unfortunately, it was just before the day of my mother's murder. Excuse my language. I don't know if I'm even able to say that on this platform, but I will get to figure those things out as I go along. I'm actually still listening to what was the last segment of the tables. Who said tables will turn, or whatever I put that as the title. Tables turn says who. I said that because we have to turn. We have to do the turning, the table turning. Just like when they used to do that in DJ or play music or whatever the technical term of that is, the turntables. Yeah, they had to do that. They wouldn't just operate themselves and let us jig or jam to whatever they were playing. They had to literally manually turn the table. So that's pretty much where I'm at and what I believe we should be focusing on. There's a lot going on in the planet, and I am just another one of the many multiplicated lights that have been ordained to this task. Clearly long before I ever remembered that I agreed, because so much started to turn for me just at my early age of 20, when I expressed in my previous video that I lost my mother as, a part of my tables turn says who, as well as the caution take. So caution take was really, motivated because of all of the homicides that we continue to tabulate with our babies and our elders, and so many different of our souls are transitioning away from this plane. And in the name of what? Because I feel like we as a people don't do enough, and we don't participate enough in what I would want to call uplifting and supporting and loving on each other as humanity. We don't do it enough, and then we have more numbers out than we want to deal with. And that's a problem. That's a problem for me internally, and as I physically watch these and experience them myself with my own loved ones, son, mother, and father. And even just as I'm on this note, I might as well get it out because the patron that I was helping out in the end of the last year, I was continuing my work with him up until just after the January 1st of 2021. He ended up in the hospital with COVID, and I wasn't aware that he had COVID prior to my help of him with his medical needs. He didn't divulge that to me, but I found out, and obviously he went into the hospital again with the same scenario based on all the things that he had going on with him that I wasn't aware of fully, all of them in detail. I didn't know that he was supposed to be on dialysis for his kidney function. I just knew he had low kidney function. I didn't know that, he was being monitored with his kidney function in order to see if they would administer or, force him by some way into the treatment. But peace be upon Ralph. Ralph has transitioned. Ralph transitioned sometime early in May. And I didn't know that directly. I did not attend his services. I did not share his name in the video as well because just for confidentiality purposes, though I know he wasn't ever gonna be on YouTube. That was never his focus, and neither was his health. His health was hardly his focus, though he was, he had some form of a instance to want to be here, but not enough to do what he needed to do and focus on what he needed to focus on. Therefore, he has transitioned, and I don't know the condition. I just know that he was in the hospital again prior to his transition, as well as after the January bout that he contracted COVID again. So Ralph had other things he was focusing on and trying to allow to be his focal point in my presence, and I was needing to keep him on task, which was to help his medical needs. And Ralph just was being a Ralph, peace be upon you, Ralph. I think about you often. It hurt my soul to know that you transitioned here, but these are the things that I must urge people to be mindful. Not be mindful, but be aware. Be aware when the ancestors or the spirit has guided someone into your path that is meant to be your help, and you have other intentions for that, or you have other focus outside of what is supposed to be the initial, focus point. The focus point for me and all along for me was to help improve Ralph in whatever way I could improve Ralph. And because the medical needs were the most dominant that I could address for him, that is where my focus went. Ralph was willing to do the things that I had instructed him to do. And in my presence, he had little ambiguity. He would mostly follow suit. But I'm sure that, not in my presence, he was doing what he normally did, which was the things that got him in the situations that he was in medically anyway. So, unfortunately, I didn't get to spend a lot of more time with Ralph before his transition. And I made that choice consciously in the January timeline based on the activities that were transpiring and the verbiages that were being hurled at me. Ralph could barely speak. He had recently recovered from a brain aneurysm, and his speech was heavily impaired. So he really couldn't speak, but he could formulate enough to speak the crazy stuff that he would say to me. And I would always redirect, and I would be as kind as I could be with Ralph in that situation. Because I've learned that I don't have to bite every head off that rears its ugly face at me. and depending on the situation, I will cipher, because I don't decipher. I will cipher how I do that, and depending on who's that person or individual or soul spirit in that being. Ralph was very sweet, but Ralph was very immature for his age, and that's the problem with most of our males on this plane. But anyway, thank you so much for tolerating what I perceive to be severe depression, oppression. That video that was uploaded before November the 16th, which is the actual day of my mother's transition, the tempo, the tone, and everything that was going on was depressing me just trying to review it. So I was like, OMG, I can't believe this. But, you know, this is the space I was in that time frame. It was a lot going on, a whole lot more that I had lived through in 2020 up and through November the 15th prior to the day of remembrance of my mother's transition. It was a whole lot that I had lived through in 2020 that I don't care to divulge and get into at this moment, but I will hopefully at some point, because these things is the reason that I'm here. And I am going to be shedding a lot of laser beams on things that I feel should be tended to with some form of care, some form of attention, although you don't want to focus too much on the negatives. But the purpose of even identifying a negative is to hopefully find the resolution in the process. And that's where we fail, I believe, most times. For the most part, we don't take the time. We do the venting, we do the pointing of the fingers, we do the everything that, you know, brings it to the forefront, but we don't create our resolutions. And that's what we need to. This is why I came into this venue. I feel like it's so much more we could do as a people, it's so much more we could do as a nation, it's so much more we could do individually that will benefit the whole, the unit. And I'm hoping that we will move forward and guide ourselves accordingly in that direction, not direction. Um, you may not comprehend all of these little antics that I have, but this is me. I've, you know, comprised myself with the information that I've been fortunate enough to encounter in my span on this plane. And I said span, but it could be either one, both, or both span and or spanned. And so I've intentionally removed and do my best to not penetrate certain energy fields. And I mean in the language use, as far as the grimoires are concerned, that we are given to use and that we have been trained and taught to use for our communications. I'm more of a feeling being. I am a water sign doubled, and I am an earth sign doubled. So I flow and I feel and I dominate. That's real. So because I am the composition and the comprise that I am of these components, this is just my choice. I don't expect you to comprehend, understand, or overstand. I hope you would bear with me, though, in the process, because this is who I am. This is who I'm going to continue to be, and I'm going to continue to progress me, and I'm going to continue to evolve me. And along the way, I hope you find something that you might find useful for yourself. So meanwhile, I do have notes, but I would prefer not to be flipping through trying to read my own chicken scratch, because that's basically what it is when I'm writing in a hurry, because I barely take my time to write. This is why I haven't written my books and why I'm very poor at logging daily, but I am committing myself to do better. And so by doing that, I'm going to be appearing here more frequently so that I can be on top of me. Yes, that's the part I want to do. Be more on top of me, as well as share with you all things that I learn and that I hope will spark a light for you, possibly, and maybe even something you might be able to draw from. This is the purpose. This is the whole entire intent of me here and sharing this content, which I haven't even begun to share yet, because there's so many subjects and aspects of myself that I would like to share and be fluent with giving to you all who do choose to partake of. I'm not here to force anybody. I'm not here to beg anybody. I'm not here to coerce or convince anybody. I'm just here because the ancestors said, get your ass there, okay? And they've been urging me and urging me and urging me for quite some time now to do my part, which is to share my unique situations and circumstances that I've been able to surmount. And this is my purpose for being on this platform, along with many others that share and contribute to our hopeful ascension of a humanity, us people, us flesh-clothed spirits. I'm hoping that I could do what I'm supposed to do, which is my part, and do it exceedingly so, as I choose to do anything I indulge in my experience. So I have so many things I would love to go over right now, but let me gather my thoughts and get myself on track as to where I will start. I'm likely going to have to grab my notebook because I'm not going to remember every bullet point that I itemized that I would like to go over. But just to recap some of this from my previous 3 videos, I started on the 15th of November. I came back about 10-11 days later, which was the Thanksgiving Day. That is a day that I don't acknowledge as a holy day. That is not something that I would like to do to any ancestors, much less my own. Relish in their loss and their no longer isness because of how they were manipulated and depopulated. This is a purpose that continues on to this day, 2021. This is August the 18th, and nothing has changed. And so I'm here to urge that we collectively turn some tables. Like, yes, it's time we definitely get to where we should be as a people. Even if we don't get to where we should be as a people in our own lifespan, we have children and grandchildren. And I myself know that I will have great-grandchildren soon. Yeah, I have a grandson who could potentially create a seed at his age. He is of the age now, and I hope that that is long far off from me to be able to realize right now, and that I am here to realize it as well, unlike my mother. Peace be upon her soul. Peace be upon my mother, father, and son. May the ancestors guide and continue to hover over me and allow me to be as they have sacrificed for me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And there's so much that I have to share with you from my journey. But I'm starting here with these minimal points because it's somewhere to start. What else can I say? I am not shy by any means. I am not shy. I am not the minimal tone. I am boisterous. Yes, I can be braggadocious if I'm not catching myself. Because I'm all that, and I recognize me, and I know who I am, and I've learned this a long time ago, after the pain, not before the pain. So my idea of doing this effectively is to learn who we are before the pains, before the loss, before the tragedies and the traumas, before. And so in order to be able to move ahead of this game called life that we are participating in, we have to do a bit more than what we've been taught, and we have to do a lot more than what we're comfortable doing. Comfortable doing minimal to nothing is where we are pretty much. And that's why life happens to most of us, as opposed to we make life happen, those of us who do. Now, I've just recently, in the past years of my loss of my son, even prior to the loss of my son, yes, I have been what you could say effective in alchemizing things. I've been effective in creating and manifesting on scales, depending on what subject, minimal to maximum. Um, some amazing things. I'm happy to know that I created and manifested and consciously partook in these things that concern me and allowed them to turn out to the greatest good for me. I'm so thankful that I've had the ability to do so. So my goal is to continue to do that and do it more abundantly, more fluently, more fluidly, so to speak. And that's my hope for anybody who would like to manifest and alchemize their lives into the greatness that they know they deserve. I deserve. And see, it's going to be a little tricky for me because I'm talking to you as if you know me, and I know you don't know me. I haven't even said who I am. Because who I am really doesn't matter. Who do you think I am? Who do you see me as? What do you think? That doesn't matter either. What really matters is what I know I am. And I'm an awesome, fantabulous being. And I'm here to be doing, and I'm here to be being. And so while I'm being, I'm going to be doing this YouTubing. And I'm going to be sharing my experiences. This channel is going to be a wide array of subjects. And so many, I'm not going to narrow it down. But what we won't do, and if I could do my best to not encourage that, we won't be disrespectful to one another. We won't be dismissive to one another. And we won't speak about these things that cause us divide. And those things would be religion, politics, mostly religion and politics. We don't even have to touch those subjects. It's enough going on. It's enough people on YouTube. It's enough going on all around that you can pretty much thumb a pick at any of those channel contributors, or what do you call creators, and find two handfuls in 2 minutes if that's what you chose to divulge in, or what I say, indulge in. That's not the right word, divulge. Anyway, indulge. So I won't be partaking in any religious format communications or topics or politics. It doesn't interest me. Sports either. Not interested in any of those type of things, but I do love everything, mostly everything else. I love food. I love fashion. I'm very creative. I do crafts. I am a construction person. I have built in the past, I should say built. And I also am a cosmetologist by trade. I'm having some issues going on with my hair. We'll get to that at some point later on down the road. I do a whole lot. Multifaceted, multiplicity, multitasking. Most times I'm doing, except for when I'm sitting right here in front of this camera, because I got to be focused and I got to pay attention, and I would like to stay on topic. That's what I would like. Now, am I going to be able to do that every trip? I don't know yet, but I will get better and better and better as I grow and go along and continue to come and visit you all. Hopefully, we will eventually be able to do live dialogue. I tried that. I tried to set it up on my laptop. I don't know anything about it, so I'm not going to stress myself out to get there. I will get there eventually. But right now, I needed to make sure that I have proper lighting and that you can hear me clearly, because I have so much to say. And today may not even get half of it out. No, today won't even get a fourth of it out. Today won't even get any circumference of it out, because this is just basically what I should have been doing in November when I started to share on the channel. And so eventually I'll get to my notes, but let's say we know why this channel is called Nifteye Mussle. This channel is called Nifteye Mussle because I'm nifty with my muscle. And I honor 𝑓kn because I named my grandson this man's name. at the birth of my first grandchild. And I did not know Nipsey Hussle 16 years ago. I didn't even know anything about a Nipsey Hussle 16 years ago. My grandson is approaching 16. So when the ancestors give me something, and also the ancestors are always working in my favor on my behalf, even when my own self is not aware of what's actually going on. My ancestors are always guiding and leading and protecting and protecting and I give thanks. I give thanks. So I don't know if I will be keeping comments on these videos, because it really doesn't matter if you don't know me. But my born name was given to me, and I gave myself a name since then. Since then, my name is Aroy. Aroy Alli, because it's who I am. And the ancestors gave me that probably about going on 15 years now. It's been a while. I was looking for a reinvention of who I was back then, and I'm always looking to reinvent